you're live and it's like my face way close to the screen. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm here with Tactical Rabbi. So I've got it pulled up on my phone so that I can answer comments because I sent you my setup, like having to navigate building a tripod or not really building, but putting together what I can't even think
I
of the
think
word
on
that I
my end,
sent
yeah.
you.
I don't think I see you though. I don't know if it's the same for everyone else.
I'm not sure what's up. So you guys can anybody else see me? No, I see you. What is happening?
Yep, I see you now. Well, I see your.
Hey, there we
There it
are.
is.
Everybody else almost got to see the setup too. I was telling him I wasn't prepared for it to be the sideways phone. Normally I hold it and it's right here, but tonight because I have a guest on here, you should back up just a little bit, Raziel. You're getting cut off right there.
You see the flag dangling in the background with the beautiful lighting. Highlight the flag.
But no, I was not prepared for the sideways one, so I had to improvise a camera tripod. So how is everyone tonight?
I think I see that. Yeah, I can see the chats below. It seems like people are here.
So we're going to let a few more people get in here before we get to talk about what we came here to talk about. But I want you guys to know, like, we have had an elf since Gage was born. Like every year, as soon as the kids were old enough, they named him Red. And he made his appearance. And the kids are jumping around so much, he's actually moving in front of them. And they're like, it's magic, and losing their minds. So somebody said, who's that guy? That guy is the Tactical Rabbi. Got me rhyming up in here. No, so the Tactical Rabbi and I worked on a project together a little while back, and that is actually what we were going to dedicate tonight's live to talking about, some of the behind the scenes stuff. And then if you guys haven't watched that video yet, he's about to tell you the really cool stuff about it. And then I'll pin it, or I say I'm going to pin it. I will post it in the comments as soon as we wrap this up, so that you
I'm
guys
curious
can go
also
and watch
because
it then.
I think people who are subscribed to Tactical Response may have gotten notifications of it. So it's right now set up as a collaborative post on YouTube. So I don't know. It's the first time I'm trying that feature. So I'm not sure if any of you guys got that notification. But regardless, on my channel and with the collaboration with Tactical Response, you should see like both logos. The video is now live to be able to watch, which is really exciting.
So tell them
Yeah.
about the video. What are they going to go watch?
So, first of all, to highlight the point at the bottom of the comments, I do not only shoot IWI. That's not how that works at all. I actually don't. I don't know if I've shot an
Back up, Brazil.
IWI
I can
product
still
before.
only see you from here up.
Really?
Or
And
from
my
here down.
framing looks fine. I don't know why my framing looks fine on my end. Because on my framing, okay, I'm just gonna shrink down. You guys let me know. Oh, you see some people. Yeah, some people got the notification. I don't know if they.
It's different now. I can see it's working.
Framing
Like
different?
on my phone, we're up and down in the screen. It's weird.
Okay, so here's the idea. I wanted to create a show that helps people become more well-rounded assets. So in the firearms world, we're all very into like EDC and just gear and like the shooting parts and the tactics parts. And a lot of us have gotten really good at it. So we might be very comfortable with the pistol. You might have taken a bunch of classes from Tactical Response and you guys are like solid on your fundamentals and all that's all nice and dandy. But like I feel like it's important that like us as a community, we start pushing it to other industries of becoming more knowledgeable in different fields to make us more well-rounded assets. So like the whole tagline on the show is become a well-rounded asset. So when I was like looking around, I'm like, if there was one thing that you like had to know at the basic level beyond guns, what would that be? And I think most of us agree that immediately we go to one thing, which is medical. So beyond just firearms, if you're sending rounds downrange, you have to assume that rounds can be coming back at you from that side of the range, which means you need to be able to have at least a basic understanding. So I'm sure a lot of you have taken immediate action medical. If you haven't, I'm sure you know where to look for it. But that's like at a baseline, such an important course to be able to take that just gives you all the fundamentals of understanding everything you need to be doing. Then you should retake it, because taking it once is definitely not enough. And you just have to have that so like fine-tuned, just like your gun stuff, because it is just that it is more important than your gun stuff, because you are far more likely to need medical stuff than you will need to use gun stuff. So I reached out to Kayla. We're like, look, give us a chance here. We're looking to produce a show. We want to make it really high production. We want to make it like look awesome. Like, what do you think? And thankfully, they said yes, because going into like in the dark, I'm like we're gonna film this. Here's what we're gonna do. They're like, sure. I'm like, you're okay with this? We're gonna do some really crazy stuff. They're like, not a problem. And then before we go into all those details, this is just still the overview before all the things went wrong. But like, oh man, it's so nice that the episode's done now, so we can talk about everything that went wrong in the background. So then when you watch it, you can see how much more like you'll see what actually took place in the video itself. So we reached out. I think a lot of you guys, if you guys are on like the tactical response, like I don't know if it was on the tactical response chats or Facebook group or whatever, Kayla reached out and said, hey, we're looking for guys to play into the show as well. And a few of you guys stepped up, which was very, very nice of you. And we did a few days of like filming, and we did indoor stuff, we did outdoor stuff. Then we had to fly back because there was more footage that we were able to use that we tried to regather. And like it was a whole long process, very, 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 very long story short, with not just tactical response alone, but this to get to this point of the episode being set to live, it's been a little over 3 years till we're finally here and the first episode dropped, and it's now available for you guys to watch. And I think it's highly recommended. The idea I also had is that I'm not really a fan of asking people to pay for stuff. So what I try to do is I try to get sponsors who love tactical response and are just passionate about the project as a whole, so that we could just get funding to be able to make the show a reality. So I promise you, there is no profit at all. It's just about getting at the baseline level, everything that's needed to be able to make it live for you guys. And then by you guys watching and supporting it, that just shows, people that are sponsors that, people liked it and that it's valuable to continue.
Mm-hmm. So
Rough
let's
overview.
get into some of the fun stuff when we were making the videos. So if you go over there to the videos, you'll see one of the comments like, I remember when you put out this call to action. We had so much fun making those, like making the whole video with the guys out there. I think my favorite part, like if you watch to the end of it, it shows that Gatlin is the explosives guy.
Gatlin was the explosives guy.
His first bomb. When we were making that, he has a new standard for the range. So like every time we go out there now, he's like, "Do I get to blow something up?" I'm like, "No, bud. That was a different thing."
What's crazy is that like we right after even the trailer went live, a bunch of people reached out to me like, dude, the AI of like the video was crazy. I'm like, what AI? All the bombs. I'm like, no, we were setting off bombs like throughout the whole video. Make it work. Like we were setting bombs off. So I guess like starting from like the first biggest issue we ran into was that we had a bunch of remote detonation explosives, and by the way, they're available for any of you guys to purchase if you wanted to. There's a company called IWA. You're able to get civilian legal movie explosives and flashbang grenades and smoke grenades. Like they have like these crazy stuff, but their explosive stuff are like top tier. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, we're putting this together. Like, what do you recommend? They said, oh, we could send you up to, I think they said it, 1 pound explosives. I'm like, I really don't think we need to go that big. I'm like, could we do like half pound? And they said, sure. So they sent us a bunch of half pound. And then I messaged Joey and I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? You're about to get a lot of weird stuff at your house. Like we're sending everything over because we're not flying with this stuff. So just be aware. So he's like, okay, cool. And then we show up to film. and there's just boxes of like Amazon packages and explosive packages. Everything's like labeled with big orange like labels that says like explosive, explosive, explosives. And like we like had everything laid out on the table. We drive out to the range, we start prepping all the explosives, and then we ended up getting the half-pound options because like, we just didn't think it was necessary. And then we went out to the contractor range? Is that the range that it
Yes,
was
the
called?
first on contractor range.
So we went out to the contractor range, like awesome property for it. And the first thing we remembered, like we were like looking about where we wanted to place the explosives, and someone's like, "Oh, just put it on the ground." I'm like, "That's not how this works. If you put it on the ground with rocks, it goes into an actual lethal explosive as opposed to a movie explosive. We don't want to do that." So the way that these bombs work is that they're called string-bound explosives. So it's kind of like a string that's dipped like almost like in a resin, kind of, and then they're wrapped into like these tubes. So it creates pressure, but once the explosive goes off, it kind of just turns into like particle, like it rips up the strings into like just nothingness. So you're able to actually be pretty close to the explosive as they go off, and like it's safe for like the actors, so to speak.
Mhm.
So we started staging like drills. We were doing like basic, drills to be able to do it. We had to repeat. Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't know if it actually made it to the final cut. I have to double check. 'Cause I kept going through the editors, but we did a few repetitions like dry just to make sure everyone was very clear about how we were going to do it. Because right when the bombs go off, you have to move. We have to make sure it's real. So we did it a few times, and they're like, "Okay, we got the shot, great." And then we looked back, and remembered a few of us didn't have mags in the gun because we were just running it dry as like a demo. And we're like, "Fantastic! Like we have to do it all over again." So finally, we're ready to do it, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, we have like the camera guy, we have the audio guy, we have Kayla who's watching for like safety, and we have like medical on standby. Then we have the actors. We have like all these different people that have different roles. I'm like, who could I use for just his only job is bombs? And I'm like saying, like literally, I see Gatlin like playing with the flower. I'm like, that's the guy, the dude with the.
You like
So I'm like down. So we give it to Gallon. I'm like, listen, we're gonna put a marker on the floor. You cannot press it before I get to that marker. And if the second marker, you cannot press it if I pass that marker, because then we're too close to where the bomb is. So we're like, cool, we're cool. Okay, good. So we start doing the walk, and then we see like we have the footage, I think, from the back end of him like setting it off. So you see him like look, and it's like, I'm gonna press like, so the remote has like multiple explosives that you're able to choose from. So like just press number one. So he's looking at it, then he like he looks up at the cameraman, he looks back down, and you see him hit the button, it goes boom, and then you see him turn back to the camera like, yeah.
he had so much fun doing that. I loved when we switched to, so that was the one kind of explosive that we used. And then the other one actually put out a fireball.
Yeah.
And it was really funny when Raziel and I started having this discussion, because he was just like, hey, we're going to set it up here and then this thing. And I was like, okay, just in case, I want you to know that when you set the car on fire, it's okay. He's like, no, it's not going to be that big. We're not going to set the car on fire.
I was like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way,
when
bro.
you set the car on fire, I don't want you to freak out mid take. It's okay. He was like, but these aren't gonna set the cars on fire. I was like, hey, when it happens, just remember it's okay. And then like as soon as it goes off, the whole car starts getting engulfed in
It
flames. We
engulfed so
actually
fast. I
burned
was shocked.
one of the detonators in the car.
Yeah. I explain my coughing also, by the way. I keep coughing. I just was testing pepper explosives, and the residue is still everywhere, and it's in my lungs, and it's horrible. Oh my god. Anyways, so what we did is we had two different types of explosives. We had concussive explosives that are designed that you're able to be very close to them, and like just like an effect kind of thing. The the other explosives you don't want to be next to, but they're designed like many movies, by the way, including Top Gun, use this exact explosive. It's from this company. They're using these bombs that like are just meant to like send a kind of like a nuclear style mushroom style flare like into the air, and like it just makes the explosion. So like for those of you who are going to see the video, whatever, we had a scene where it's like a drone attack, and I said, can we put it like in the windshield so it looks like it blew out the front of the windshield with a bomb? And Kayla was like, cool, not a problem. So we set it up. We had a detonator in the car. So there's like the receiver and the transmitter for the explosive. So when we set it off, I was like on the floor, like protecting my head, and went boom and like blew out the window. I'm like, cool. We like continued the scene. I felt like I see the front of the car kind of like smoking. I'm like, we probably have enough time to like put it out. Kelly's like, you just leave it. It's gonna burn out by itself. I'm like, you sure? Like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, okay, like cool. And something just like, engulfed. And like we had to pause filming because like we couldn't even stand next to the car. So the one thing you'll see, like a behind the scenes blooper situation, is if you see in the car, there's a scene that like once I get hit by the bomb, we get back up to start running. The cars are not the same cars anymore. When I say like it is the same car, but there was such a long pause between when the explosive went off and then when we had to refilm that the car is already burnt to a crisp. It's like just down to like just the foundational parts of the car because it's gone. So like it's a very quick thing, but like since like it's playing fast in the video, you might not be able to tell. So that was the first one. So the car is burnt. We had to get the tractor and drive around it because it started spreading to almost like a forest fire kind of situation. We're like, no, we got to stop this quick before it becomes a problem. So we finally did around it. We stabilized it, got a bunch of crazy footage of the fire. Like while we were filming that, Kayla got a cool wedding photo. Good for you. Shout out to you. You got a cool photo.
That's Alex's background on his phone.
Oh, great. It's a great photo. And then what crazy is that we had the second explosive that was Alex running away from the explosive. So like there's another part that Alex is running and like the drone drops a bomb next to him and he like jumps and the bomb goes off. So like, cool. We're like, we want you to run, act like you know you're like dodging rounds, whatever it might be, and then do like a dive. And then when you do a dive, the bomb will go off and it's gonna look super cool. So he's like, great. So we're all standing by the first car. We're like, it's like shooting, whatever, like whatever. We see the drone coming, and then Alex takes off running. And then like I turn back around after like the scene kind of ends, and I see him on the floor. I'm like, dude, that was a great dive. Like, good for you. And he's like, no, I fell. I'm like, what do you mean you fell? He's like, no. He's like, he ate dirt so hard. So we left that shot in. If you look at that video, the part that Alex falls, you see his head like dragging against the floor, and you see his legs in the air.
He's
straight up. It was crazy, straight up in the air, and the bomb is like still going off in the background. And like that was the shot we ended up using because you can't fake that hard of a fall and just get away with it. Like that was insane. That was insane to be able to watch. So like, we kept like looking back at the footage. We're like, we're not doing that again. That was solid. That was good. And then he like suggested, he's like, what if I do a scene like that? I just woke up from getting hit. So we ended up like holding a camera against his face, and we were making him walk around like that. So, like you could see like a POV of like a guy just like waking up after getting hit. Like, that was crazy. And then I think we did the last part was when we were doing the last part. I was like running towards the camera with the explosive going on in the background. The detonator wasn't connecting, so we had to refilm that like literally at least 10 different times of me running. And by the last one, I was already out of breath. I'm like, I can't. Like my cardio is not up to par right now. Like we're just not. I kept like running towards the camera, and then you see like click, and, like nothing happened. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like that. That's just the intro of the show and all the things that actually took place. I'm seeing a comment over here.
Yeah, Raziel, as an instructor yourself and someone who's taken advanced classes at tactical response, what are your thoughts on downrange drills? How valuable, and can you get that value any other way? So what he's talking about is like an inconsistent firing line, so where you're breaking the 180 rule.
So there's a lot of pros and cons. So the biggest concern for most people I see on the internet is the safety factor, which is a variable. Like that's obviously something you always want to be extra cautious about. I think that when done correctly and under the proper supervision, there is value. I think the best way to start with it was that the class that I took with tactical response in shoot houses. So you're using simunition rounds. You realize very quickly in shoot houses that as much as you try, like it comes down to the proficiency of each individual student, but proficiency comes down to I trust you that you know the safe handling of a gun. You trust me that I know the safe handling of a gun. But it's practically impossible to fully clear a house with a team of people and someone doesn't get muzzled. We have the rule of keep your finger off the trigger because we don't want it to go off. And you keep a gun pointed in a safe direction because if it were to go off, at least it's in a safe direction. But inevitably, when things all start getting really crazy, you do the best of your ability to avoid that as much as possible. But there's layers in training that prevent the issue from ending up happening. So one of those preventers are keep it pointed in a safe direction. If for whatever reason that breaks, your fingers still keep remaining off the trigger to be able to prevent it from being an issue. And then tactics of within moving in a house. So we try to best our abilities. I think it's valuable to a degree, but you still have to be very, 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 very cautious because it could become a big problem if done incorrectly.
I'm glitching.
You can hear me? I can see you now. You good?
Yep.
So yeah. So again, I do think that there's value. I don't think there's really another way of being able to do it other than simulation in regards to being like the safest way possible. But beyond that, I think it's very important to do a simulation shoot house style thing because you realize how stressful it becomes and how quickly it becomes an issue. And then once you understand that, it kind of heightens your additional awareness of being careful with your finger placement and how you move. And then it also, in a lot of cases, like slow, smooth as fast, you really don't realize how fast you're moving within a shoot house. And if you take additional time to just relax and just make sure that you're doing everything properly, I think it's a very valuable thing. So being exposed to something like that before life and death situation might help. Potentially, meaning from what I've heard this.
Come on, Raziel.
I'll say the reason why I'm saying that is that I think I heard this from Tactical Response. You correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong. I take all apologies if not true. But I think James once said that the two hardest people to train are people who've already been in a gunfight and people who've developed bad habits. Because people who've been in a gunfight, their whole association to training becomes, well, that wasn't my scenario, so I don't want to do what you're recommending, even though it's not a broad scenario. And people who develop bad habits have to train out of the bad habit. So being in a life and death situation, maybe many times, meaning maybe guys who are in the military who've seen a lot of active combat might have an advantage in that regard because it's not one type. They've experienced many different types, which to be fair is still a broad category. For example, I'm not military, so you guys correct me, whatever. But I'm saying
he was asking having exposure to that before you encounter a life or death scenario.
Got it. Yes.
Would be beneficial.
Correct. My bad. Yes. I think it's very beneficial. I think in general, shoot houses are extremely beneficial for the sole reason of understanding how if you go to an airsoft game or if you're doing live fire at the range, Sun Tzu, whatever. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher that guy's name. The famous book writer, the Rules of War or whatever. He was always saying like if it was him, I think he said that you've never seen someone like air shadow sword fighting and losing. Like meaning if you're shadow boxing yourself, of course you're winning because you're the fighter and there's no counter fighting to you to be able to lose. So the same with simulation, if you know you're going to get shot and you know it hurts and you know it sucks and you really, really don't want it to happen, suddenly everything you do changes because I really don't want to get shot right now. So that changes your perspective. So thank you, Art of War. I apologize. I offended literally everyone. I'm so sorry. But yeah, exactly.
Yes,
but the idea is that, yeah. But like the idea is getting that kind of exposure, I think is very valuable. Like any type of that type of exposure of trying out different things, I think is very important because you're just getting like you're getting like associated to things that you wouldn't have experienced before, whether you like it or not, and whatever. That's also the same reason that I still do think that there is value in airsoft if you treat it as if it's real training. So, for example, I live in a horrible state, which officially we can only have 10 rounds in a magazine. So if I go to an airsoft game and I only load my mags with 10 rounds,
New Jersey, guys.
I'm sorry. I should leave. I know. It's just not. You're right. But the idea is that if you go train and you actually only put 10 rounds in your magazine, or you restrict yourself to the same degree, where if you're even in a free state, if a 30-round magazine is a 30-round magazine, but an airsoft magazine carries 200 rounds of BBs, then you're not playing realistically anymore. Obviously, there's still variables. Like it's not a real gun. It's not the same level of accuracy. It doesn't shoot as fast. But the more you make training realistic, the more you're developing habits that can be to your advantage, which is the same thing as dry fire. Like you're just creating habit and creating that structure that'll be beneficial to you. Same applies for medical.
It's always baffled me when people are afraid of breaking range rules when training for a gunfight. Like you are putting restrictions on yourself that are not going to exist. And again, if you like, I'm rarely alone I have an entourage of 3 to 6 children with me at any given time. Um, like if something bad was to happen, I would probably have my family or at least parts of my family with me. It's plausible that there will be strangers there. Um, like there are probably going to be people that I don't want to shoot around. And if the first time that I ever have to shoot around people that I care about, like I would rather it be under the watchful eye of a professional instructor. Um, when I was teaching Heather how to drive, my little sister, we were driving down the road, and something that my dad taught me whenever I was learning how to park was look at where you want the car to go, not at the lines. So when I was teaching her to drive, she was like, "Oh no, there's a jogger over there," and like started veering towards the jogger. And I was just like, "If you look at the man, you will hit the man." And she's like, "Oh yeah, duh." And she's corrected, and everything was fine. But if you, um, like, if you look at the people you care about, because that's where your focus is, like, that's where your bullets are more likely to go. You have to look at the thing that you want to shoot, and if you haven't trained to have things moving in your peripheral, then you are ill prepared for that in an emergency. So, I don't just think it's beneficial to break the 180 rule during training. I think that if you are training for a gunfight, it's necessary.
So what Lewis is bringing up is like a obviously in the firearms industry a very controversial topic, and like he knows what he's doing, this guy. But I'll
Oh,
give
no,
you
no,
my two
we
cents.
there was a whole ass video put out. Some douchebag on the internet was just like tactical response, blah 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 blah, and I was just like, first of all, that dude definitely press checks. Like he just like looked like that kind of guy. And second, like he's never come out and taken a class with us before, but he was just shit talking, and it was about having people in front of the 180 line. And it is insane that people think they are getting gunfighting training if they have a multitude of range rules that they're not allowed to break. Like if
So
that's your training, you are putting restrictions on yourself that could get you killed. Woo, the Southern's coming out tonight. Get you
you
killed
could have
in the
gotten
back of
away.
your
No one would
mind.
have said.
Woo!
So what I would say is that when I took my first tactical response class, the word I'd probably like the phrase I'd probably use would be culture shock. Like for me, it was like a huge change from any other training class that I've been to. So I'm very neutral in regards that I very, very, very clearly understand both sides of the arguments on this. The first side of the argument is that for someone who's very, very unclear about how tactical response works, it looks horrible. It does. Like because it does you don't necessarily know like the safety that goes back in the background of it. You don't understand like how seriously the instructors take it. You don't understand with the briefing that the students go for prior to any of the things that you do. So if you look like, yeah, a bunch of guys just stood in front of the range and started open firing at each other, yeah, that sounds horrible and looks horrible. I could also understand how if you're not comfortable or like
Real quick, I just want real quick, because you got to watch those videos as somebody who had never trained with us before. Like, what rule were we breaking that bothered you?
it's what you said, which is correct, which is that you're just beyond where a gun is being fired, and that seems to be a problem. So be aware of your target and what's beyond it. But the thing is that if you're not shooting at the person, obviously, then that's not really an issue. But the concern again for what I understand the concern is for a lot of people, obviously, is that it looks bad, and the biggest argument you always see is that there's no additional value to doing this. When I went to take a class with
Spencer,
you
we
guys,
just talked about that there is, and I know that you are on
no,
my
no, it's like
side. Like
yeah,
this, we're same page here.
I'm saying both. Like presenting both
Yeah,
sides. I totally get why a person would never want to do it, and what the reason why would be primarily because they're not necessarily comfortable enough with their fundamentals or just themselves to be able to take shots like that, which is very scary. So today, literally today, I was filming a video on back face deformation of body armor. So people who have level 3A, it's like soft armor, you'll survive, but you're gonna have a horrible day with all your like ribs broken because
Mhm.
the vest is still moving back. So I was doing a demo on that, and while I was doing the demo, I had like a $1,000 camera setup that was pointing at the vest, and I was shooting just left of where the camera was going to be. And then one of the people that were there like watching, they're like, "Oh, don't hit the camera." And it's a very like neutral comment to be able to make, but for me that's not even a consideration because making groupings that are half an inch at 5 yards is not complicated if you just have your trigger press in place and you're breathing comfortably and like you know what you're doing. It's not so like it wasn't a consideration of like I have, let's say, a 3 inch margin of error because 3 inches is massive for fundamental errors. Like that's huge. So
Mhm.
if you have your fundamentals down and you know how to move and shoot and whatever, then it's not necessarily a difficult thing to do, but it's a scary thing to do. And I think a lot of people don't want to face the reality of things are going to be scary. But for me, the mind shift I had after taking a talk to response class is that, first of all, again, this is
You
like one of
stop
James's things.
projecting. Like that's
You
what
saw what was
happened.
that?
You stopped projecting. You stopped feeling like, oh, that's dangerous. Nobody could do that because you couldn't do it. Then you did it and you're like, oh, okay, that's not bad at all. It's people who can't do stuff like that themselves get so offended and assume that everybody else sucks as much as they do. And that's just not true.
So like I'm still what I get also is that I think there's a lot of people who are in the industry who are very, 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 very skilled. Like they're very good shooters, and they're still looking at it like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of value. And there's a perspective. Again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but a part of what their perspective could be is you're an instructor, I'm an instructor. We've trained probably a lot of people, and there's sometimes people that come to my class, and I'm like, you really shouldn't be carrying a gun. Like you're not at the level to be able to do that. And the concern potentially is that there are, again, I'm sure you've had this experience before. I've had a lot of students come to my class before who said, I'm at this standard. And then we do a basic drill and they realize very quickly they're at this standard. And those type of people will show, they're like, I could do that because I've been shooting for 25 years and data of how long I've owned the gun equals skill set that I've had a gun. And that's not at all how that works. And there's almost like a projection like anyone could do this. But again, you're not seeing what the back end looks like safety wise to build up to that level.
I think you've got it reversed. Like,
Okay, I'll take it. Tell me why.
I believe that people look at it. People like the who comment are like, "Oh my God, that's so unsafe." They're saying that because they know that they can't do it. Like they know that if it was their kid getting taken hostage, that they couldn't make the hostage shot. And to make themselves feel better, they're like, oh, no. The reason I can't practice that, the reason I can't do that stuff is because it's too dangerous. They assume everybody else sucks as bad as they suck. Like, I see where you're coming from, like how certain people do the whole, like, they think they're way better than they really are. But, and that's part of the problem is that those dudes think that they are top shooters. And if top shooters can't do that, because they know they can't, because they in reality suck, then nobody should be doing that. Like dudes are born thinking they know how to fight and fornicate.
So
And
I'll say that what
I
changed
can
for me,
assure you they are not.
what changed for me is that I think it was something I was definitely very like again, I'm saying this as like when I was a first time student coming to talk to response, I was very, very, very uncomfortable with it because it was something that was well beyond my scope of what I thought I was capable of being able to do. And then again, you're guided, you see the instructors do demos, like everyone kind of builds you to that level of you'll be okay. We see how you shoot and you're fine. And regardless of what anyone would say on the internet, the reason why for me it was very valuable is that there's certain things in life when it comes to an emergency that I was very, very, very square when it came to like safety, and I was very square when it came to like all these types of rules. And like what changed for me is that you're now like driving home, right? And you're just driving down the street, and this happened to me before, which is why it bothered me so much. Like this is gonna get super deep for a second, but like in an emergency, a lot of people like forget that you're able to break rules to survive, And since you're so locked in a square, you don't do it. So like as an example, I was waiting by like a red light and an ambulance was trying to turn to go in front of me. And I didn't move my car because I'm like, I can't move. Like the rule is that, you have to yield to emergency vehicles. But that was stupid because if I didn't drive a little bit further, then you wouldn't be able to fit anyway. So which rule are you following? Just move. Like just, what are you doing, bro?
You're
So it's
lawful
kind of
good.
like,
That's
I
what
was
it
like,
is. You're lawful good. I'm chaotic good.
I'm
So I
lawful. Yeah.
don't, it does not
Pros and
bother
cons.
me a bit to break the rules. Like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, we don't have to, like, we're not breaking rules. And
You're
that's the
right,
thing,
but like
is
that's
we're
what people
not
get squared off
breaking.
about. They think they are. They like because they think they are, and then they realize that they're not. And then you tell them like, "You're fine, relax. It's about survival, and you're not going to get comfortable." I think Clint Smith at one of his classes took a lady that was in a wheelchair and dumped her out and said, "Oh, because you think everyone's going to be nice to you, learn how to fight on the floor." Like that sounds like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, no, if you care about the person enough, you realize that they're going to get punched in the face and thrown on the ground. I saw a video today of a girl in which NYU who got like punched across the back of her head as she was coming between classes, and then one of the comments were like, "Learn how to fight." So she responded with like a light sparring that she did at a class, and we're like, "Look, that's better than nothing." But if you think that a person who's like 90 pounds more than you is going to care about the sparring classes you took, get a gun, and that's a very good median for like we're all on the same page now. Build that skill set, and you'll be fine. So like you should have more skills. You should develop every skill you can to the best of your ability. But in some cases, me being too, if Conor McGregor was walking towards me, I'm not getting into a fist fight with you. We're not doing this today because we know what's going to happen. So that's why we have the balance of a firearm, because now we're all on the same page, and that's how this goes. So you should be able to like understand that sometimes rules need to be broken for your survival. Gunfights are going to suck. Medical is going to suck. Everyone's going to be in pain. I don't want it to get a gunfight because legally, emotionally, financially, it's going to be a horrible thing. But just do your best,
Yeah. But I do want to say, like, and make sure that we're on the same page. Like, we're not actually breaking any rules, though.
You're breaking range rules. You're not breaking firearms rules.
No,
Range
we're
rules is that
not.
you don't go beyond.
No, range rules can only be broken at ranges that have them. We don't have range rules.
Fine. This is the same analogy as here's where in the U.S. you could carry if you're not like a bad. Well,
No,
if you don't care about the laws.
Legally, in court, we have like 5 rules on our range. They are: keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target and you have made the decision to shoot. Do not let your muzzle cross anything you are not willing to destroy. Be sure of your target and what is beyond it. Keep your gun, or treat all guns as if they're always loaded. And it's easy if you keep them that way. And let falling guns fall. That's it. Those 5. Those are our range rules. We don't break a single rule during our classes.
Unrelated,
Like,
by the way, I've recently no longer the last rule you mentioned about let guns drop, only because so many people are coming to classes with guns that are not done by Gunsmith, and they install non-drop safe triggers or the SIG P320.
So really, stop letting those guns show up in your classes.
I don't
let them go.
I don't know until they show up
anymore.
Until they get there, I'm like, no, you can't do that, bro. That's not how this goes.
Well, like, so you can't like have backup guns yourself. Like if they show up, like, hey, can't use that, but here you go, and like have a gun that they can use. Because if you stop saying "let falling guns fall," somebody is going to get a finger in the trigger, and it will suck a lot worse if somebody's hands were on it and they get shot. Like, because then
shout out to Lewis. Yeah, you said it right. Lewis is right. He corrected me. I take it. I'll take it.
What do you say?
He's like, even if the gun is not drop safe, it's still worse that you would try to catch it than just let it hit the floor.
Yeah, because like things go in places.
You're right. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm always willing to learn and be corrected. It's fine. I understand.
Yeah, if you have concerns about a gun that is not drop safe, do not allow it in your class.
Yep. That was again for me. There was a lot of things that taking a tactical response class changed, which is when you guys demoed drop your gun, and then you're like, eh. But until you do that and realize your gun is drop safe for a reason, you don't trust it until you do it yourself. So just get the experience. Like just get the also unrelated. I remember the first one of the first class I went to. The way that I could tell the instructors use their guns is my gun. I did a huge amount of dry fire before I started taking classes. I did a lot of dry fire, and the way I knew I was doing like not enough. Like there's never enough.
Dry
But the way I
practice
knew
or dry fire?
what's the difference?
The trigger pull.
I did trigger pull.
Okay, so
From
dry
what I remember,
fire.
I did dry fire. I did do trigger pull. So the repetition of my gun going back into the holster, coming back out, you see the wear of the front of an OEM Glock, like a Gen 3 Glock. You see the wear of the it's almost like turning more silver because of the wear marks. Like it's kind of like it's a sign of like respect that you earned that wear of the amount of times you did a holster thing. And then when I came there, I was like looking at one of the instructors. His gun was just silver. I'm like, I know that's not stock. That thing has been carried for who knows how many generations. And I'm like, we're in a good place. This is gonna be okay.
Yeah, I had to retire my Glock 19. We excuse me. Sorry,
The pepper
I
got to you, bro.
not like literally, like I sucked down the wrong pipe. Whew. But
Don't
no,
die
once,
alive. It doesn't work out. It gets demonetized.
right?
It's really awkward.
We had replaced all of the springs and everything, and when it got to the point of like it's time to replace the barrel, I just retired it. It had almost 50,000 rounds through it.
Nice.
I was like,
Nice.
I'm done. I'd taken fighting pistol. That wasn't even the first gun I took fighting pistol with. The very first time I took fighting pistol, it was with the Car 9mm. The metal feed lips on them mags, boy. Woo!
That was another thing.
I
I'm like,
felt it.
only when I go to tactical response classes will I accept using a like a magazine loader because I'm like, your hands are like bleeding. I'm like, this is not the part I need training for. I need the shooting part. I'd rather just have my thumbs together because I know this part. I know I'm fine with this. So like, I remember also, by the way, a part of the reason. Ooh, I might get hate for this, but a part of the reason why I ended up changing out my trigger is that when I started going to classes like tactical response and other classes similar to that, where the round counts were so high, I was like bleeding on my index finger because the sharpness of like the first trigger. I know, sensitive hands, I got you, but like it was
What
like
gun were you
big,
shooting?
I was using a stock Glock Gen 3 Glock 19, and I was like, it was. First of all, I'll give myself credit. It might be a California thing that they do something to the Glocks. They might be doing something in California. That was when I was living in California. Then I moved to New Jersey, which means I just screwed myself twice, just across the U.S. for different places. I went across the entire U.S. and said, where else could they screw me just as well? And I'm like, New Jersey's the place apparently. So the first class I took was when I was still living in California, and I'm like,
So what trigger did you replace it with? This will determine whether or not you get hate. Was it another stock trigger that wasn't sharp?
I think I switched to an Apex originally, and then after that, I switched after that. The Apex was the one I was using for quite a while. What was
Did
the
it
other one? I
change
used.
the pound pressure before it went off?
It did. It went from I think 5.5 to probably I think it was around 3.5.
Yeah, don't do that. Put a regular
I
one
don't
back
have
in
that.
there.
I don't have that gun anymore, so that's fine. That one's
Okay.
that's been retired.
Okay.
I switched to my current EDC is a X Macro. I started carrying that only because I ended up buying a SIG. I was hardcore Glock for like forever, and the only reason why I got a SIG is that so many guys were coming to classes with SIG pistols that I felt it was important that I get some experience on their trigger press and their sight pictures and the grip angles, so I have an understanding of what they might be going through when they train those classes. So the fundamentals are ever so slightly different. And like the way that they pick up their dots are different because the grip angle is different. There people switch from Glocks to SIGs had the same issue where their presentation wasn't the same because it was off. So I started getting that and I was just training a lot more with it and I just got comfortable with it. So I ended up just using that a lot more.
Mm.
The next live I'm going to watch from you, you're going to be like, the tactical rabbi is definitely someone who press checks. And I'm like, fantastic. Like now I'm on that list.
Oh, yeah, like he looks like he has fresh jacks, like that dude. Yeah.
There we go. We have to show also at some point the picture of Alex face planting. So we have that full image of the. Do we have that with the?
Let me see. I'm scrolling back up through our messages.
Shout out to Grant. You absolutely earned the right to have the wear on your Glock. It takes years and repetition, and you deserve it. That's Alex. Look how high, dude. His feet are in the air, man. That's crazy.
And then that's the whole picture. So you see the explosion off to the side of it.
It's a crazy shot. It's a crazy shot. So that we're lucky we got that angle of like. What I'm surprised about also is like I feel like the rifle didn't dig into him at any point. Like he was running and just I guess he like somersault. Well, he didn't somersault. He just dragged face. Man, that's crazy.
My daughter's cat. We're the ones that feed him, so he actually likes us way better. His name is.
I mean,
Pumpkin.
that's pretty. It's a pretty valuable, valid reason to like you more is that you're feeding the.
Yeah.
You have rust on your gun. That's a maintenance issue. That means you could fix probably. Like one of the things I hate about SIG, at least for the experience I've had with them, is that their magazines seem to rust very quickly if you don't maintenance them a lot. So I'm constantly maintaining them, like constantly, because like randomly I'll have like storage mags that are just not as active in use because I have like the primary mags, and then I'll go check them randomly and like they're orange. I'm like, bro, where? Like what happened? So like it's just something you have to be very on top of.
Yeah, my Glock mags don't really do that.
Glocks, no, they don't. They generally don't. Listen, plastic. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with Glock. I just became bougie for absolutely no reason. I don't have. I only have bigger options locally, and I feel like on live it's an issue to present them. So
Oh yeah, it would immediately get us shut off.
There you go.
Immediately, you can't like not even a blue one. Not even a blue one.
There's no whatever. It's just it's YouTube policies.
So
Okay,
they're
so
laughing at the nature is God's or rust is God's Loctite and like rust is just nature's Loctite. My very first AK, I got it for Christmas when I think I turned 18 that year. And it was an AK Arsenal. And I took a class with it and I was like, this is an AK. So I like didn't touch it afterwards. And then I shot corrosive ammo through it and then didn't touch it afterwards. And like I just went and put it back in the safe. And my dad was just like, hey, your AK was rusted. Even AKs need some love. Like
That's
you gotta
hilarious.
do something to it. And I was
That's
just like,
hilarious.
okay, fine. But he got it.
I got to shoot Kayla's AK. If you watch the video, you can see I shoot it at Kayla's AK.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice setup. I enjoyed the setup.
And that's
and
my favorite favorite gun to shoot. Out of all of mine, like that one's really, really nice.
Also, by the way, I think it's very important to highlight there was a very special cameo of a item that was in the show that we were like very cautious with throughout the episode. You wanna highlight that for the audience?
Yes, so we actually got my dad's rifle that he had taken overseas with him. So it was the rifle that he had done all the cool stuff with, and it's my mom had it, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna grab that," and she was like, "Be careful." And this is not me picking on my mom, but she was like, "Oh, please be careful with it," and I just kind of giggled, and I was just like, "Oh, if he had." I also made like a dark joke to my mom, and she's not a fan of dark humor. I was just like, if James Yeager hadn't been cremated, he'd roll over in his grave and his rifle just sitting there. This is what he wants it used for. And she was like, that's not even funny.
The way Kayla introduced it to me, and she said, "This is James's rifle. It's taken people's lives." I'm like, okay, let's step back one second. And they're like, what's the rule? The rules: it can never be unloaded. It's either firing and it's loaded, or you're done firing and it's fully loaded, or you're reloading. Like it's actively always having rounds in the chamber. And then Alec was the only one allowed to touch it for the show part. I got to use Joey's, which was very cool. Which you also see the really cool tactical response insignia on the side of the rifle, like throughout the episode. And that's also that's also rightfully fixed minded. I can't believe. Oh man, that's crazy. As a quick recap, this is I'm on dad duty tonight. Everyone should check out the video. It's live now. We're also going to be releasing very soon the podcast to fully expose Kayla for who she truly is, and that's going to come out soon as well. So you can check out. That's going to be soon. We're going to have that released. So the main episode is out now. Go get a medical class. Take immediate action medical at the minimum. Take immediate action medical. You could start by realizing how good of an instructor Kayla is by watching the episode, which, by the way, the number one message I was getting from people is how well spoken you were with the information. And even, by the way, because we all knew this was going to happen, there's a bunch of people in the medical field who reached out to me. I don't agree with everything she said, but she said it very well. I'm like, okay, like, screw you. Like,
Yeah.
But whatever, I'll give them the credit. But again, they said very well spoken. So, like, it was very well presented. We try to put as many visuals as possible to give like better understanding of the things that we're like breaking down. We did demos for like wound packing. Overall, I think it was awesome. And leave a comment, like it. We want to try to push it out there to as many people. Share the video. This will not only be able to show other people that like the people found interest in what the show is and the interest in that. More people can get introduced to tactical response, which I think is very important, so that they can start spamming their comments with information that they're not very knowledgeable in. And then I would love to get you. I want to hear your feedback of like how you guys think it went. What do you feel like could be improved? If you want to hear more, we might need to come back to do a part 2 for advanced medical or something else with tactical response that I'm sure people would, love to enjoy.
So you
We'll
do
see how
know
that goes.
that the advanced immediate action medical class is force on force meets IAM. Like,
The reason why I know that is the amount of times Alex tried to shoot me during the first class. He was standing up the stairs with the silly spray, and I'm like, I'm about to get hit. I'm about to get hit. That's what's about to happen.
yeah. So I do different, like, I use different props for different classes and stuff. In that one, I was just like, silly string is the perfect one. So we had silly string and to simulate the stuff. But no, for the advanced immediate action medical, it is the blue guns that it doesn't feel as nice as silly string when you get hit with it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with
yeah,
y'all. It rained
agreed.
the entire time. The second time I took fighting pistol, felt good to know my pistol will work even packed full of mud.
Yeah. By the way, the only time I had issues with Glocks is fine. I'm about to start yapping. So before I have to get myself out of here. The only time I had an issue with Glocks is I took a counterterrorism course in New York, and they had it on a range that was completely sand. It was just sand. So we did a lot of like getting like ground drills. So I was like rolling in it and whatever. And at one point, there was enough sand that built up in the trigger mechanism that the trigger was extremely hard to press. So I had to just disassemble it, and
Even
I
with
ended up
that
having to do
3.5-pound trigger you put in it?
that was with a stock trigger. It was with a stock trigger. Don't come at me. It was a stock lock.
Hey, I
Stock
do
as
have
they
a
come.
serious question. Was yours the only gun having that, or were Glocks the only kind of gun there? And if
No, every
not,
gun. Every gun.
so were
Not
other
only
guns
were the
having that
guns.
same issue?
Every gun was having the issue, but not just that. I was using a Safariland level 3 holster during that class, and we were rolling on it and whatever. And because the class was like very like they were just it was a bunch of like special operations guys and SWAT guys and whatever. They kept like pushing everyone to like the limit as much as they could. So one of the things we were doing is that we were doing like on our side, like if you're like whatever, different drills. And I ended up also crushing my holster. So I wasn't even able to reholster the gun with the gun being all messed up from the sand. That I had to end up getting sent and replaced from Safariland, which, by the credit to them, they're super on. They take their customer service very seriously because they know who's carrying their stuff. So I said, like, these are the drills we were doing. This is the damage that incurred, whatever. They sent out a brand new holster. They sent out everything, and they also added to their record of things that went wrong to see if they could advance the materials or it changed. Because if guys are doing that and this type of damage is happening, like how could you like reinforce that? So like huge credit to them, like solid people.
Yep, Safariland is a great company. That ever since like the mid 2000s when I started like actually working in the gear shop and doing stuff like that, they've always been the brand for any of the drop leg holsters, Leo stuff, all of that.
Solid guys. I like them. Okay. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate everyone.
Yep.
Thank you guys for chilling in the comments with us. I'd love to see your comments on the bottom of the video as well, And I guess we'll do this again very shortly after Kayla wants me to tell her all the things I went wrong for the podcast episode. I have more there. I have a lot more there. Let me tell you. We're gonna talk about the whole hotel situation. That was
The hotel situation, which
the hotel situation is that we ended up getting to Camden at 2 a.m.
Yep.
That
Yep.
was such an experience. Okay, thank you, Kayla. We'll be in touch.
Yes,
and
thank you, sir. Get back to
very soon
dad
on the
duty.
podcast. See you guys soon. Have a great night, everyone.
Alrighty. So I will post the link for that in the comments as soon as I wrap up here. I was going to give you guys your full hour, so you get 3 more minutes of me. But no, we had so much fun recording that, and I feel really good about the episode. We got to highlight a lot of the immediate action medical stuff and the most important stuff that you can do when you are not at a hospital. And if anybody on here knows me at all, you know that we focus on tourniquets. There is a really cool scene where it looks like arterial blood is coming out, like it's pouring out, and it looks really neat. It was fun getting to do all of the mechanisms and stuff to make that happen. But no, it was a great time. And something he didn't say when we were, he was asking like where in Camden would be like a place to get some really nice footage of just the area. So we took him out to Nathan Bedford Forest, up to the monument, and where they have the where you can go in and see the animals and stuff like that, and then you overlook the river. And got up there, and he's doing his little thing, and he called me Kayla Smith, and we all just kind of looked at each other like, "What? Who's that?" And no idea where that name come from. I guess I reminded him a little bit of Angelina Jolie and the Mr. and Mrs. Smith, maybe. I don't know. Just rub some dirt on it. That's what we tell the kids. Just put some dirt in it. You'll be fine. God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt. Yes, it is already on YouTube. Let me go ahead and pull up the link right now. He sent it to me last week to go ahead and go through there to make sure that everything was still awesome with it. Tactical Rabbi. And if you guys haven't liked and followed his page yet, he's doing a whole series. You will recognize some of the other people in the other episodes because they are Tactical Response alumni. Let me share, copy link, and we'll get back to the Tactical Response channel. And I'm pasting it now. So you guys can see where I posted the link and go over there, show us some love in the comments, and let us know how you think or what you think about it. Like I really would love to do another episode like that. I'm such a nerd for medical stuff, so any chance that I have to put the good word out there, I try to do that. But yeah, so it is 8 p.m., guys. Thank you so much for your time and energy. We will see you guys next week. Your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends, and this is the way. This is the way. This is the way.